Hey guys, it's Chris with Homediary. Today I'm going to show you how I have retrofitted my 16-year-old Lexus GX470 and made it really almost a brand new car. It's got internet, it's got GPS navigation that actually I can use instead of the one that came with the Lexus. And it also has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and more. So let me show you what I've done here. Okay, so you can see this is what they call a Tesla style Android radio. So basically it's an Android tablet with a radio connected on the back end. You can see there I've got Pandora. I've customized it with kind of a theme. This is called Car Launcher, which is an Android app you can download right to the device, and then you can customize it. So I've got different apps and functionality. I added a TPMS tire monitor, so I can check the air pressure. As you can see there, it works pretty cool. Just go back to the home button, and I've set this theme to be kind of the launcher for it. It does have little pop-up notifications. You can see here is the current artwork of the song playing. You can even just tap and go to miles per hour, check the weather. It'll load in a second, those kind of things. And then these are basically quick actions to different things that you want to do. So that's how I customized it. Out of the box, it's got kind of a generic skin. You can change these things down here to show temperature. Right now I've got Bluetooth. The main reason I don't have some of the temperature is because A, it's got these physical buttons for temperature, but B, the temperature on the screen is not working right now, and I don't know if that's just a Lexus GX470 issue. I think it is. I've seen other videos where it has been working, but you know, again, this is a 16-year-old car, and as you can see, I've got, you know, the web in here. This is a Google Chrome. Pops up. You can go to different website addresses, have tabs, all sorts of things. You can also select which navigation you want. It does have built-in GPS. It does not use your car's GPS. There's basically a GPS attachment, and I think the guys that installed this, which was Best Buy, put it up in there. But it seems to work pretty well. You can see I've got Waze loaded by default, so if you're connected to your phone's hotspot, it will have, you know, complete internet access and Waze functionality that way. That's one way to do it. The main reason I put this in is I wanted my son to have Bluetooth connectivity for voice and, you know, be a little bit safer driving wise. So as you can see, it's got Bluetooth. Now the Bluetooth, as I understand it, is really more for phone and music streaming. So it can, you know, stream music from your phone itself. I've tried to connect a Bluetooth OBD adapter to get information about the car. That actually does not work. I'm getting a Wi-Fi enabled one, which is the version you need. So a little bit of a limitation is the Bluetooth is really just for your phone and device connectivity that way with some audio streaming. So just keeping that in mind. It does have radio. The volume button does work here, as well as I can just mute it there or adjust the volume up or down that way. So steering wheel controls work nice. You know, quick access to the phone brings up, again, that dialer. If I go back to my home screen, the one thing I will say is that it does load a little bit slow. This is a 2 gigabyte, 32 gig RAM, 32 gig ROM device. So it'd be nice that if it was, instead of a quad core, an octa-core or 8-core would be nice. So I'm sure the next version of these things will be more updated. But this does have Android 7.1. I have confirmed that with an app I downloaded called Anutu. And so, speaking of apps, so the nice thing is, because it's an Android tablet, you can download anything you want from the Google Play Store. So you click Play Store. As long as you're connected to the internet, it'll bring up the homepage for the Play Store, and you can search and install pretty much any app. So you can see I've got Google Maps, different car scanners. So when I do get the Wi-Fi version, it will show different information. AutoKit is Apple CarPlay, so I'll show you that in a second. But you know, Pandora, Spotify, Waze, you know, whatever else you want. Volume booster is a way to adjust some of the stereo type settings. So that part is really cool. And again, you know, you can come in and you can really just kind of pimp it out and customize it any way you want. One other app you might want to look at is Car Web Guru. The car launcher was $3. No big deal. Car Web Guru looks to be completely free. They do have a donation button on their site. So, you know, being my company is a developer type company as well, you know, I laugh when people say it's not worth the money. You have no idea what it takes to develop any kind of app. And, you know, the fact that apps are 99 cents is kind of crazy. So, you know, I deemed this car launcher for $3 to be, you know, well worth it. I mean, it's got a lot of functionality. You can go in, you can customize it. You know, if you want to go edit the theme or pick a different theme, you can do that. In this case, all these little boxes are kind of the layout, and I was able to move the clock down a little bit and make it a little bit bigger. You can add other little widgets, so it's pretty cool from that perspective. And again, it just provides this quick way to really launch different apps. Now, let me show you a couple other things I did. So one is I had, instead of the cigarette lighter, I had them put in a USB port where the cigarette lighter is. So again, I had Best Buy install this. A couple reasons. One is I wasn't sure, you know, how easy it was going to be. Two is I'm also putting a wireless CarPlay unit in my Audi, 2011 Audi. That has been a little bit more of an experience, and Best Buy has worked on that twice now. I'm bringing it back in this weekend to see if they can get it to work via hardwire, because it was supposed to be plug and play, and it's not. And evidently Audis are much harder to work on than Toyota or Lexuses. So it was basically $200 for the year for their Geek Squad service, and it includes unlimited, you know, basically installs of stereos, backup cameras, those kind of things, as well as, you know, computer fixes. So I've got, you know, several computers that need work, and so I deemed it kind of worth it. As I was trying to fix the temperature stuff, I did take this out, unplug everything, plug the factory unit back in, and then redid it, and it all works. So actually, I think if you want to, you could definitely do a self-install of this item. What you need to be aware of is, to self-install it, first you need to lift this panel up and just get like a little plastic pry bar to pop this up. Then you take these side panels off, this one and this one, and again you would just pry down under there. You can see kind of where it's been pried before, and then you just pry gently down at the bottom here, and that'll pop out on both sides. It's the original factory unit is fixed in with 10 millimeter bolts, I believe. So you unscrew that, take the frame out, and then this Tesla style unit connects to these parts, and then it just slides in and you redo it. So it's actually a pretty easy install if you wanted to do it yourself. Now let me show you Apple CarPlay, and my setup is I've got a USB hub here, you can see, and that little black USB device is the Apple CarPlay device. So you need kind of the separate unit here, and it is CarLink, I believe is what it's called. and it was not that expensive, like 40 bucks. I am getting a wireless version of it, so we'll see how that works, but right now it's wired, so let me show you how that works. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate how to do Apple CarPlay. So let's just say I'm back to the home screen here. And if for some reason it doesn't connect automatically like it just did there, what you need to do is go to General, CarPlay, and then find the car. You click on that, and then you can allow while it's locked. You can adjust the different apps you have. But as you can see, when I plugged it in, it immediately popped open. Here's the various apps that are downloaded onto my phone that also have a CarPlay type interface. So if you want to use Waze for navigation, you can do that. Your last 3 used apps, I believe, are showing up here. So if you want to play music, you can do that. Not sure why that's showing first, but whatever. You've got Apple Maps. I had to reset my phone, so some of these permissions I have to redo. So again, Mute works right from the steering wheel control. If you want to see the app list, just press that button. It comes back here. Again, part of this motivation was get a simpler interface for my son, 16-year-old driver, not distracted by text messages, although he's pretty good about not texting while driving. But it makes it a lot easier. My wife was always frustrated with this car and our Audi because her phone would never connect. So this is pretty reliable. Like I said, I am getting a wireless version of this CarLink kit. So we'll see how that works, and I'll do a separate video once I have that connected. But, navigation works great. Whether it's Apple Maps, Google, or Waze, or the 3 different map options I have. People like different maps for different reasons. So Apple CarPlay works. If I want to do Siri, I can press that button. Hey Siri, what's the weather?
Choose location services and turn on both location services and Siri. Or you can just tell me where to check the weather.
Check the weather for Sammamish, Washington.
It's currently cloudy and 55 degrees in Sammamish, Washington.
So there you go. The real frustration for us in the past with the navigation that was built into the Lexus or even the Audi is, you try to speak something and it can't understand. It'll say system is showing point of interest icons or whatever, right? We have a Tesla Model 3. The amazing thing about that is it's connected to the internet. It's got this big screen, and the navigation and the voice just works. You can see it's a little screwy because I think I don't have location settings set yet because I did reset my phone. Again, if you want to use the built-in GPS and not have to worry about internet, you could do that. Google Maps does allow you to create an offline version. So let me just open up Google. Oops. One thing to note is when you have CarPlay connected, it does try to overwrite all your apps. So disconnect it if you're trying to do something else, which I guess makes sense, right? You've got CarPlay, it's forcing you to use, CarPlay as the main app. Okay, so Google Maps, if you click on the little menu icon over here, it's not bad speed-wise. It could definitely use more RAM and an octa-core. But you click on this offline maps, and then it'll allow you to go select your own map. So if you wanted to, if I wanted to get just like Western Washington, for example, I can just have this whole map area downloaded. I don't have to have internet access to be able to use it. So that's a nice, very nice feature. But again, because this is an Android tablet, I can download any app. You know, all these different apps that I've got to really customize and make it kind of a unique experience to this car. Which, you know, by the way, if you're in the market for a used SUV, the Lexus GX470 is a pretty cool car. You can get them for, I think, $10,000 to $15,000 now, and it's tons of features, very reliable. I've got 145,000 miles on this. You know, the only really major mechanical thing is I did change out the front axles because the boots had split. So, you know, you can either repack them or I just got new ones. The engine's impeccable. It still has, you know, clear oil when I get it changed and those kind of things. So anyway, you know, it's amazing to be able to add this device in here and get, you know, kind of this Tesla-like feeling of, wow, this car is really up to date into a 16-year-old car. A few other things is you'll notice I had this little pad here. I've got a wireless charger. So you can see I just actually stuck it down with some 3M tape that came with it and utilizing that charger. I kind of like it down here just because, you know, having it up here kind of clutters things up, and, you know, the goal with this is avoid distraction, right? So my son, you know, hopefully is not looking down, and if it's CarPlay going, then, you know, he doesn't see the text. It just will say a text is in, and you can say, read me the text. So hopefully this review is helpful. I highly recommend getting a unit, and this unit can be put into most cars, right? It doesn't have to be a Lexus or a Toyota. You can do it in a Honda. The F-150 trucks have it, GM. So if you want this Tesla style screen for your car, really, you know, this is a 2003, so going back way when, you know, there might be a few things here and there that don't work. You know, the temperature thing I'm still working on. It is an irritation. But in terms of my purchase experience, I bought this off of Aliexpress, which is Alibaba. You Google, you know, Tesla style vertical screen, and you're going to see, you know, tons and tons of resellers. Most of them are on Aliexpress. There's some on eBay. I bought mine from a Chinese reseller. I'm going to recommend not doing that. There's a company called Phoenix Auto. I'll put the link down in the description. They're US based. I actually asked them some of my questions regarding this unit, and they responded pretty quickly. I've asked the reseller like 5 or 6 different emails now, and I've gotten one email, and it was about 9 days later that they responded the first time. So support with this kind of unit, I think, is needed, just in case, you know, every car is different. So I would recommend, you know, a Phoenix Auto type of solution, just because of the support factor. The other thing, let me just show you here. Now you can go into the menu and customize it. So this is an Android app that overlays a theme on top. The interface has a theme that comes with it as well. So if you go into System Info, press and hold, and then 7890 is the code in this case. It opens up this interface, and here you can select from different car types. You can see, you know, Jeep, Hyundai, you know, Dodge, whatever. System settings provide some additional functionality. And UI number, UI style, these are the themes. And as you can see, mine are all in Chinese. So I have no idea what this means. Again, another reason to really go with the US-based reseller in this case. You can select, in this case, I've just done trial and error and selected different things. So you do that, you save and reboot, and it'll come up with, you know, something new. There's other options. You can change the name of your Bluetooth. I just changed it to Lexus. don't touch origin and screen rotating. I did that, and what happened is it flipped it upside down, and then like that keypad where I entered the numbers on, for example, it was upside down and flipped. So actually where the keypad was, nothing happened. I had to touch up here in a blank area and try to remember exact position of the numbers. So do not touch those two things. Leave it positive and negative. Other things you can do, depends on your car, you know, like backup lines, those kind of things. You can adjust the volume. You know, I'm not going to go through in detail what all those are. It did have PAL video. NTSC is the North American standard, so you may want to change that. But you know, that's about it. In terms of the camera, I did have a backup camera installed in this previously. I was able to just reuse that, so that works. If I put it into reverse, you can see it goes bigger. It does have parking lines, but they're not dynamic. I think that's just a factor of the car itself. It may change once I get the OBD Wi-Fi. I'm not sure. But, you know, it's nice to have a rear view camera, especially with this size of car. You know, this is kind of cool in a way. It just shows the angle, pitch, meters. The compass works, doesn't work. Sometimes it's like opposite of where it is. Right now it works. And again, this is part of the theme of the device itself, not this theme. Although I think I can, you can download some compass apps and those kind of things. So, you know, it has music. In this case, this is music downloaded to the hard drive itself. If I click browse, that's the hard drive. You can have a SD card, you can have a USB device. So if you wanted, you know, more dedicated music without having to stream it, that's a way to do it. That's under music. Radio is the radio. I showed you the app. The phone link is the iPhone mirroring. I have not gotten this to work with my iPhone. So I'll just show you how it's supposed to work in general. Now we're on the same Wi-Fi here. Pretty sure. So you swipe up, screen mirroring, and you can see that matches. So what's supposed to happen is, as soon as I do this, then the screen would show here. I've tried this both with my iPhone and iPad, and I either get a blank screen like you see here, or a gray box like where the phone would be will show. But yeah, it doesn't work. I did try it with a iPhone 5C and it worked, so I don't know if it's a iOS 12 issue. But I can't show you my my demo because I dropped the phone this morning, my 5C, just the old phone the kids had, and the screen doesn't work anymore, so I think I just broke that phone. So anyway, it doesn't work, but you know, it's not that big of a deal. It does support Android as well. Does play video. I don't have any video here to show you at this moment. It does support a front camera DVR if you wanted to have a front camera as well. The rear camera does work if you're driving. If you want to have a rear view mirror type of thing, you can actually set it and drive as well. And then File Manager just lets you access a little more detail about the system. It's got you know, menu over here, those kind of things. So in general, you know, I like the unit. I really like the skin. It's a little slow on loading. But the customization of it is really cool. The fact that I can add, you know, any kind of apps and, you know, jump to things is pretty cool. You know, the few irritating things are, one, the temperature doesn't, you know, work on the soft screen right now. So I'm trying to figure out a solution for that. Two is, to use my iPhone, I always have to come in and, you know, select the hotspot and switch it manually. not a huge deal, but you know, it's something you have to do, whereas in the Tesla it just works. So the solution around that would be just get a dedicated mobile device. AT&T, who I have, has a little OBD thing you can plug in that also gives you the OBD information. That might be an option, or you know, a dedicated hotspot, and then you have, you know, Wi-Fi through your car. I deemed it not worth the $15 or whatever it is extra a month to have it. So, you know, go through the inconvenience of having to set that. If you have an Android device, I think you can use an app called Tasker or something similar to automatically connect, you know, if your Bluetooth phone connects to this device. You can't do that with an iPhone because of the permission settings. So a little bit of limitation if you're an iPhone user. If you're an Android user, you can automate it more and more. So overall, I'm really glad I put this unit in the car. Again, it's a 16-year-old car that has, you know, internet, Apple CarPlay, streaming music, multiple GPS programs, some that work offline, Bluetooth, hands-free calling, you know, all this cool stuff, and I can add more and more things down the road. So it really has brought new life to the Lexus, which is 145,000 miles. You know, it's just beginning its life. And so the next adventure with my son, taking it over. But actually, I kind of like just driving it now because of the cool factor that, oh, I can do these cool things and listen to music or whatever. So I highly recommend it. If you've got an older car and you want to keep it, you want to update it, you know, whether it's a Ford, Chevy, Toyota, Lexus, whatever, you can do this to your own car, and it can get installed, you know, pretty easily. So highly recommend it. And again, based on my experience, I would recommend going with a company like a Phoenix Auto that has a US-based customer support that's actually going to answer your questions and help you with any problems that might come along. Is it perfect? No. You know, a few issues here and there, like the temperature, you know, having to manually connect the hotspot, but it makes driving much better and easier. So I recommend it if you want to keep your car. You know, here in Washington, we have a 10% sales tax. So, you know, you buy a car and $6,000, it's, you know, what car is under, you know, $50,000, $60,000 nowadays? That just goes to sales tax to the state, and I'd rather just keep the money and, you know, put a few bucks into the existing car that I know has been taken care of. So that's about it for this review. Once I get the wireless CarPlay, I'll do another video on that. And again, Homediary is our video channel #1, but we have a website for your home. So go to homediary.com. You can search for our app in the Apple Store. We don't have an Android app as of yet, but it works on your Android device via the web browser, or you can use any computer, tablet, whatever. And you can log different things you do in your house to keep kind of this digital record. You can use our 2D and 3D floor plan tool to help plan your spaces, whether it's a single room or your whole house. And down the road, we'll have some services. If you want to have us come out and create a floor plan or do a 3D scan or whatever, we can do that as well. So check it out. We'd love your feedback, and always hit subscribe, and we'll go from there. One final note, if you're interested in a Tesla, which we have, Tesla Model 3, it's an amazing car. I highly recommend it. The only issue at this point would be, you know, what's the future of Tesla? I think worst case is Apple, Google, Amazon, somebody like that buys them and they become part of a bigger picture. You know, what happens to Elon Musk in that case, who knows? But the car itself is amazing. I've referred a friend of ours, he got it, and he's like, I'm like a 16-year-old kid again with this car. It's amazing. You know, you think about it, you dream about it. It's crazy. So while putting this Tesla-style unit in this Lexus doesn't quite get me there in this car, you can have one for your own existing car, or if you want to really update to the future, go get a Tesla. They're amazing. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.